Nectar right about now, but oh well.
Yeah, right.
Alrighty. So I'd like to welcome to BearNet Radio Geng Wang and John Dalsey, co-founders of Nectar, the number one Asian flavored alcohol brand in the U.S., up about 130% over the last 12 months, and currently, as I understand, distributed to 9 states. And you play in a segment that is one of the fastest growing bev alc categories in the US, up about 160% year over year. And of course, Nectar has hard seltzer and hard juice. And we're here today also to talk about Sojuice, a higher ABV offering that you guys have just launched. It is a soju juice cocktail featuring fruit pairings like lychee lime and calamansi watermelon. And I think it came out just last month. So hot off the presses, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us. That
Thank
was a great
y'all.
intro.
Thanks. Might have to dub over my terrible pronunciations and restarts, but again, we'll roll
No,
with
you
it.
hit
But
it all perfect.
thank you. Well, you know what? One of the things besides the awesome flavors you guys have going on that really differentiates you is how you guys have really nailed social media. Right. I think you've got, I don't know, at least 40,000 followers on some platforms. And so I'm curious, did that come online like right as the brand was launching? And how did you convert those online followers to actual people buying your product in store? Because that's pretty special.
Yeah. I mean, so this goes back to the very, very beginning of our brand. We started the brand like producing it in 2019, but 2020 is really when we were ready to bring it out to the public. And at that time, we were like, oh, TikTok is kind of a pretty big thing, right? Or just starting to become a big thing. Everyone was getting viral. People were
Yeah.
going viral for drinking cranberry juice and skateboarding. Like it
Yes,
was a
I remember
crazy
that.
time.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, let's put our founder story online and see how it goes. And let me preface also by saying when we produced our first batch of Nectar, this is when it was hard seltzer. We actually went door to door to like 200 different stores in LA to try to get our product in there. Super naive concept. Now looking back onto it, this is during COVID. Store owners and buyers were like, "Who are you guys? What are you doing? Just trying to keep the lights on."
Right.
Like what? Like no, it would be the answer
Right.
to you trying to get in here. So we were like, okay, let's put our story online. It's the first Asian flavors ever to appear in hard seltzer. Everyone's doing the exact same flavors. We're doing a different thing. Are we put our life savings into here and we put a phone number on there and we're like, are we on to something or not? Like if you're interested, text us. And the first few videos went like viral to a degree, like
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of views and hundreds of phone numbers were starting to text in. And we were like, okay, like I think we have something. John and I, we went to different stores like around LA. And again, they were like, what exact I don't really understand. You have hundreds of phone numbers. What does that mean? Like you have friends and family, like and to like their credit, like I don't really know what that means. Cause like does that actually mean they're a buyer or they're
Right.
texting in to see what's going on? Are they bored because it's COVID? And we ended up saying like, hey, like just let us do a drop like in your location. We had two mom and pop liquor stores in LA. Let us do a drop here. We'll bring in like a pallet of product. If it doesn't sell through, we'll buy the rest. Like let's
Mhm.
just try something out. And we set up a time that we wanted to have the drop. Very nervous. Both of us,
It was
like
Wednesday. It was 9 a.m.
yeah,
on a
a
Wednesday.
random time.
You
Great,
remember it
great time to
very
do
clearly,
this.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because people don't work. Yeah.
Exactly. And then so John set up at one location, I'm set up at the other location, and the hundreds of people showed up and like lined up around the block, bought like a bunch of different product. Like we
We
were
sold out under an hour. It was like
yeah,
pandemonium.
yeah. And we were like, okay, wow, like that was pretty awesome. Can we do it again in other cities? And we kept building it from there, kept doing this like kind of drop
So
model.
yeah, we did Orange County next. And again, it's like we did it once in LA. Can we do it again? And then that was 200 cases. Then we went to San Diego, it was 300 cases. And then we started to get a little bit smarter and we were like, okay, like I guess this is kind of like a long-winded answer. I realized we deviated far from the original question that was asked. But at that point, it was like, okay, we're on to something. We need to raise money. We need to get a real co-packer. We need to expand our distribution. But we have limited funds, right? So we need to fundraise. So what is like the optimal plan for us to keep building awareness, even though we were having this success, we're still getting met with a lot of skepticism. Like, is this niche? Is this something that like everybody wants? This one-time thing? So we came up with a Quit the Claw tour. And if we got 300 phone numbers in any city in America, we'd come do a limited drop. we literally had a leaderboard website where it's like literally different cities ranked based on how many people would text in. And that's like kind of what originated us like really leaning into, using phone numbers to drive demand in a city and using that to like convince a retailer, distributor, et
Yeah.
cetera.
And so at this time too, like again, the TikTok, like phase one of TikTok in America, you didn't really need that many followers to go viral. You didn't need any followers really to go viral. So at that time, there was no social presence except for these TikTok videos and they went viral. And I think that what we did a really good job of is once you go viral, you have some sort of call to action that's actually executable by people that are viewing it to really translate a view into an action. So
Hmm.
in that time, it was the drop. It was very, very localized because we were just starting. So everyone that was watching, most of them were in LA and they would come through and they would buy. And I think that as we started growing and as time went on, we've had to continuously need to like update our social strategy because we can't really do at this stage in our time, like you can't keep pounding that founder story and you can't keep saying we're gonna do a drop in another like grouping of 50 different cities. Like that's just not scalable or possible to do. And once you start expanding out from like a super local region, like it gets really hard to make a message that's relevant to whoever's watching it, right? Because it's like
Mm.
someone could be watching it in the Northern California area and someone could be watching in Hawaii. And if we did a SoCal drop constantly, like all these other views are kind of wasted. They're not really relevant. So we've started updating our types of content. We started doing like these what we call sale or fail kind of content where it's like sampling in store, but filming it and like filming the interaction with the consumer. And that became more of a location agnostic type of content because it's really just an interaction with the consumer that's trying the drink and giving real-time feedback and then our response to that. And we try to update that too to, before when we were just launching it, it was very much straightforward, like, hey, here's the product, here's what it is, here's what it tastes like, here's why it tastes the way it does. To now, it's like a little bit more a personality. There's fun more involved into it. And like that's the content that you currently see on our page right now. We're doing other things too, but I can talk for forever about that as well.
No, it's super interesting, and obviously it worked and super differentiated. And I think it was really original and smart that you guys really drew the consumer in and said, "Tell us what you think," because I don't think there's a lot of Bev brands that are literally like, "Tell us what you think," and
Mhm.
give us your number, that sort of thing. I think that's happened a little bit more in food than actually in Bev. But so what's? And I'm going to pass it off to Bianca because I don't want to bogart. But what's the call to action now? I mean, you have these interactions, these samplings and things. So is the call to action kind of like maybe show up on our feed or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, so the other thing that I'd mention is a big initiative that we're executing nowadays is this thing called Nectar Radio.
Yes.
So to give a little bit of history to go into it. So we had our social media content, which was much more founder story. Then as we started growing bigger and we started doing more of like the fun sale or fail videos, we also wanted a side kind of entertainment channel. And so we started a podcast as well. And that was more generating community, generating brand awareness for Nectar. And we always like to call that as like the right idea, but not necessarily the right execution for like what our brand really wants to be. And what I mean by that is drinking and our brand is a drinking and social experience. Like we really want like we always say within our company, we want to share joy and culture through flavor. And podcasts, as you guys are very familiar with, is not the most inherently social listening activity. Like I'm not going to be like, hey guys, like let's grab a case of nectar and then we'll listen to a couple podcasts in my living room and it'll be really fun time, right? Like so it generated a lot of views, but and created community, but we wanted something that tied more into what we're trying to do as a brand and the drinking experience. And so we've up like our next iteration now is this Nectar Radio platform, which to give some context for like the trends there is the kids nowadays, they are putting DJ sets up on YouTube. And it'll be like a full hour, maybe 2 hour long DJ sets. And it ranges from a kid in their living room or bedroom by themselves, just spinning a set to like a DJ at a party and it's all filmed, but then it's put up on YouTube. And I've noticed, and I'm sure you guys have noticed as well with your friends, with your friends, the Spotify playlist is kind of like gone to the side, and people are now putting up these DJ sets because it's easy. You put it up, it's a great vibe. There's visuals with it. It's great for all the way from like the pregame side of things to like the actual party. It's just like a fun moment. And so we created this Nectar Radio to be like this visual radio MTV station that features Asian American DJs. So that's like kind of ties into our Asian flavors some more. And it becomes this great like 360 companion piece to like, okay, well, let's grab a box of Nectar, and then at home we'll put on like the newest like DJ set from Nectar Radio. And like the call to action there is more like, how do we create this incredible moment and opportunity for friends to have together over Nectar?
Yeah. You're creating new occasions, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious what your background is, because when you took this drop approach, that's kind of like, a merch drop or like,
Mhm.
it reminds me of like these capsule collections that like brands will partner on. And so it's like a very different language through like other CPG categories that's not necessarily been applied to beverage or alcoholic beverage. So I'm curious
Right.
kind of how you took that approach um, and kind of the feedback you're getting there.
Yeah. So John and my background, I mean, I'll let John speak on his background.
Yeah, so my background is in the craft beer industry. So, um, I don't know how much backstory I should give. But long story short, didn't know what I wanted to do after college. I basically had an option. It was like, I go back to school to take classes to try to go to medical school, or I could, try getting a job at this craft brewery my dad was an investor in. So obviously I went with the second option. But first day of work, everybody was like, you have no experience. You just graduated school. You're just here because your dad's one of the investors. At the time, that was frustrating, but in retrospect, it was the best thing to ever happen to me because the guy had been making the brewmaster had been making beer for 35 years. He's like, all right, you want to learn how to make beer? Wake up every day at 4 a.m. And as I'm sure you're probably aware, since you're in the industry, brewing is like 95% cleaning. So that just meant
Mhm.
every day at 4 a.m. I was in some sort of confined space with a scrub brush, cleaning something. But basically got like hazed into learning how to brew on a production size brewing system. And same thing with the packaging guy. I started at the end of the packaging line, hand packaged six packs. By the end of it, could put together or take apart, put back together like a 38 head rotary can filler. And I got a little baby face. Can't really grow facial hair. This whole industry is dominated by really, really big guys with great facial hair. So
Out of the
really had
craft
to,
industry.
Yeah.
so had to learn. Really had to learn my stuff to hold my own with our distributors and everything else. So tremendous learning experience. That was from 2014, 2019. We were one of the fastest growing craft breweries in New Jersey, and that's really when hard seltzer kind of has this crazy summer. And I first started talking to Gag and Jeremy.
So like he had that craft brewery experience, which has, kind of your more seasonal or your their own drops with it when it comes to products and
Yeah.
everything. I came from from an ad agency standpoint, I had clients like Constellation, so I had more of that larger brand drink company experience. But then I also had a stint doing a startup with fashion and sunglasses. So that also had a
Okay.
little bit of like that fashion side of it. And
Yeah.
then our other two partners at the time were music guys. So they were big in like creating these moments for their artists and how do we create like a connection, a genuine connection with community and fandom and kind of combining all of our different experiences and looking at the environment that it was. Like again, COVID, it's very hard to like do any sort of regular traditional type of launch event or anything. So let's stand in a line 6 feet apart from everyone and like let's figure out let's figure out a way for like people to have this moment where you can have community and be excited and honestly satisfy that boredom that everyone had because everyone was stuck at home. So we just combined all of our different backgrounds there and to create this whole drop experience.
I mean, we've kind of talked about your strategy and how that's, unique and differentiated, but maybe we can talk about your actual products. So obviously you launched with a hard seltzer that, had unique Asian inspired flavors, but now you've kind of grown that lineup into hard juice and now sojuice. So kind of talking about the trajectory of your product lineup and then, I guess maybe what's resonating the most with consumers today.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, we're all on the call because of this. Like the main point of our products and drinks and in our brand is centered around Asian flavors. So like right when we launched, um, John like gave us a call. He was in the craft brewery space in like 2018, 2019, and was like, there's so many different hard seltzer brands coming out. Like this is kind of wild. Like I kind of want to think about something to do with my own craft brewery. And he called me and the other guy on our team and was like, "Can you guys help us? Can you guys help me out with something?" And we were like, "No."
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, that sounds terrible." And like,
Yeah. But then we called like some friends in Asia, like in Shanghai and Seoul, Korea, and we were like, "Have you guys heard of hard seltzer? Like, have you guys done anything like this?" And they were like, "We don't know what you're talking about. Like, we
we've
don't
never
have,
heard of it.
yeah, we don't have any of these RTD hard seltzer kind of drinks in our countries." And so then we were like, "Oh, that's really interesting." So that kind of means that no one is doing Asian flavors when it comes to like this whole like giant booming category. Couple that with the fact that Asian culture in general has just been insanely mainstream at this point. I mean, right now it's like even more like than I could ever imagine. But at that time, still, like at that time, it was like what, like Parasite and like
Mhm.
Korean barbecues were definitely a thing, and Chinese restaurants have been a thing for a really long time. So Asian flavors were definitely what we thought was mainstream. No one was doing it. The format was new, and it was a lot of people were interested in it. I think before that, it would be really hard to make like a flavored alcohol beverage that could really stand out with the Asian flavors in a meaningful way. So it's like the timing was perfect. And so then we launched with our first one, which is our original hard seltzer,
Hmm.
with more traditional flavors like lychee, Asian pear, mandarin, and yuzu.
Okay.
And that was 4.7%. It's just like the standard macros, except like higher quality in terms of our brew process. And we were literally zero sugar, like none of like zero sweeteners in there at all. And then that was a success. We had our second hard seltzer pack come out where we added a little bit of monk fruit because a huge piece of feedback that we were getting from our consumers like, hey, we want some more with more flavor, which John and I always joke around like more flavor is such a funny term. It's like, what does that actually mean? And no one really says we want it sweeter. They always say we want more flavor, but what they
Mm.
really mean is that we want it a little bit sweeter. So we were like, okay, made a second hard seltzer pack that was more Hawaii inspired tropical kind of flavors like Lee pineapple and pog. We threw in some traditional Asian flavors in there too, like green grape and mango melon. And that had an addition of a monk fruit in there to give it a little bit more sweetness without adding
Okay.
sugar, but still all natural flavors. So all still within the same way we'd like to do things within the brand. And then again, we were like, hey, we want to like make some sweeter options, make some more flavorful options. We saw everyone jumping into hard tea. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like it was like the second coming of hard seltzer. And we were like, I'm not, I think that there are definitely, we're not saying we're not going to ever do hard tea. Like I think it makes a ton of sense for our brand, but it was one of those things where we felt that we would get lost like
Mhm.
in all the teas out there. And we thought that another way we could execute this would be going with like the hard juice like side of things. So really starting to bring in the flavor profiles of the Asian fruits that we're trying to go after. And we made our first hard juice pack, and that was with like passion fruit as like a main focus. And that really did well as well.
So, but I would say like with all of our innovation though, it's like it's been really rooted in a lot of customer interviews, like hundreds of customer interviews, if not more, right? And
Mm.
really trying to understand how we can be incremental to try really, and we probably do it maybe too extreme. We're really trying to avoid cannibalization. We're trying to appeal to either a different
yeah.
drinking occasion or a different consumer.
Mm.
Um, with everything that we're expanding out the line. So that has ultimately led us to, people that want something that's like categorically sweeter than the other product, right? And that's what started with the hard juice.
Yeah. And that one was our first foray into slightly higher ABV. We were just like kind of playing around with it with our co-packers, seeing if we can maintain flavor, if we increase the ABV. That went to 6%. Our seltzers were 4.7. And then with the success of the hard juice, we were like, okay, now we're seeing a ton of high ABV success. Like there's a lot of people coming out there with high ABV and they're crushing it. And we felt that we had a good story to tell within that space as well. Um, with Asian flavor being our central kind of idea, soju just made so much sense because, it's like literally the most well-known Asian alcohol there is in the world. But what more like interested us in the soju experience as from a personal standpoint is we just loved how culturally it was such a social, like an integral part of a social experience. Like every image that I have in my head of like drinking soju is having fun at Korean barbecue with friends, like having fun at a kickback with some friends, like and watching like a show or watching like or just hanging out. Or even at Dodger Stadium, they now have like soju like just out there and they just pour a whole thing in there and you're having like a great time with your friends at the World Series. Like so shout out.
I'm wearing a Cubs shirt, which is weird. Like,
Yeah.
not in the World Series is random.
Yeah. But yeah, and so like soju as like from that element too just made so much sense for our brand. So we were like, okay,
Yeah.
as we go into this high ABV space, we still want to remain true to everything we've been doing as a brand, which is Asian flavors and sharing joy and culture through Asian flavors. And so let's make something that's a soju juice cocktail. It's 8.8%. We picked the eights also because it was just like such a lucky number in Asian culture too. So
Yeah.
love that as well. But
Angel
essentially,
numbers, right? Is that what they
exactly,
call them? Yeah.
essentially nine. And yeah, and it's been crushing. Like from like a soju cocktail perspective, it's number one already from
Yeah,
a
nationally.
like
Nielsen.
yeah on Nielsen and yeah.
Wow. And it just started shipping last month or a little bit earlier?
No, so this started shipping earlier this year in April.
Okay. I thought
Yeah.
it hit
Yeah.
in
It
September.
started so
Yeah.
it started off just at Rouse in Southern California and it's expanded now since there. So.
Our like launch event, which you might be referring to, which also
Okay.
tied into Sojuice, was around a month ago. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
And then, so do you guys see that on track to become maybe your highest seller, or is seltzer far and away your number one offering?
Seltzer just has a whole lot more distribution right now.
Yeah.
So it is still our number one product. I think that long term, like big picture, we believe that Sojuice is potentially a product where instead of Asian flavor being a like, subsegment of a bigger category, we could be category leaders
Mm.
in that space because we think that the demographics align with the consumer very strongly and like Gang was saying about like culturally the experience of drinking soju is just so associated with the drinking occasion that we're seeing with the high ABV product. So
Yeah. And I think also because it's a higher ABV product, it's a product that's more suited also for channels that we haven't been as deep into, like your convenience, your liquor store channels, your independent liquor store channels. It just makes a lot more sense there. So there's a lot more potential that I think that it has to grow.
Yeah. And do you guys do singles, or you will do singles, or?
we started off in an 8-pack because we started in grocery with that. And to be completely candid with you, like internally, we believe that this product's primary pack is going to be single serve, and that's what we're working towards with as we expand into convenience, another smaller format chains. We've all been like overwhelmingly surprised with how well the 8-pack has performed in grocery beyond even what we could have ever expected. So it's been doing extremely well. And again, interviewing customers to understand that better. It's in this high ABV category, there are not a lot of alternatives to if you want a multi-pack with this many cans at this ABV with this many flavor options. There's not a lot of competition. So.
Yeah. So right now we have two single serve out of the two flavors in here. It's the white peach rambutan and the calamansi watermelon.
Mhm.
But that still needs to like kind of disseminate out through distributors and all that
Get
stuff.
more distributed.
Yeah.
Do you guys tend to go with one particular wholesaler network type, or is it kind of a mixed bag? Or
So we have a mix, I'd say. So it's we're with the AB network in um, California and Texas. Then we're with Breakthrough in Nevada and in Illinois. We're with Columbia, Pacific Northwest. We're with Reyes in Hawaii. So the
the
best
big
distributors for
guys,
the
yeah,
state.
good, good. I will
Yeah.
say it has pretty good. I mean, in San Antonio in particular, I live in Austin, but I see it in HEB a lot, especially in San Antonio. So shout out to your Texas distributors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just one more for me, and then I'll stop again. Bogarting B. Sorry. I mean, how many cases are you guys doing? I don't know if you can share that. Obviously, you're a private company, but I'm curious the sizing of this, being that it does play in such white space. It seems.
Yeah, so we're going to do well over 200,000 cases this year.
Okay,
So
nice.
we're making progress. We'll
And growing triple digits, right? Like,
Yeah, so and then we even with the next year, and what Gang was saying about the Sojuice, this is our first expansion into a new channel. Convenience has not been a focus for us because we've been
Hmm.
really focusing on grocery, specifically with the 12-pack SKU and the hard seltzer and the hard juice. And now that we're getting into single serves, we're very excited about expanding into convenience.
Are you do you have any like state expansion plans, or like what is your like market distribution strategy? Like, are you going into states with like a higher Asian population, or like what's your strategy there, to reach consumers who are, you know, texting in their number to get your products?
So I'd say there's like a checklist, and like different things are weighted differently about for us to launch a new state. One would be having a really strong distributor partner, um, right? So it's like we wouldn't want to launch a state if we don't have a strong distributor partner to launch a state with, obviously. Having retailer excitement and having like a one uh, anchor chain to launch a state with, right, is something that we need. And then on the consumer front, it's not actually as much as what you would think about, like, oh, is there states with a higher amount of Asian people, like, are they going to perform better than ones that don't?
Hmm.
uh so this is just even more broadly talking to our other friends who have other Asian CPG products. If you go into like a Costco, for instance, in Kansas, it's like you might think you're in Irvine. There doesn't seem to be like a clear cut, like this demographic is going to 100% be a stronger purchaser of Asian flavored products versus another one. And another
Yeah.
example of that is like literally the very first batch we ever made, like this, like the early days, we were making this in Normal, Illinois. So like, literally cornfields. And the first canning run we did, this big burly, corn-fed guy, a brewer with like a beard down to his waist, right? But like really, he walks up, grabs a can off the canning line. He's like, "Yuzu, I love yuzu." And I just like, I was like shook. I was like, I can't
Yeah.
That's
believe this
awesome.
exists.
Yeah. So it's something that we share with a lot of our partners as well, where it's like it's easy to think because we have Asian flavors, oh, primary target audience is Asian people, Asian consumers.
Yeah.
And I would put a little bit of nuance in that and say like I think our primary core consumer is more of a younger, like 21 to 39 kind of person that's more globally curious and like
Mm.
interested in Asian flavors and wanting to go to Korean barbecue with their friends and wanting to share cultures and all these different things. Like um some markets we go into, like we're talking with our distributors and like, oh yeah, cool. Like let's go to like this very traditional Asian grocery store. And you walk in there and it's more like 50, like average age of like 50 to 60 Asian aunties. Like you would think, oh, cool, like they're definitely gonna love our flavors, but they're not really about that type of format or that type of branding. And I would wager like 9 times out of 10, like the Asian auntie is not gonna buy our product off the shelves compared to like your 21 to 39-year-old that loves going to Korean barbecue and is of every type of ethnicity and all that stuff too. I mean, you can see it reflected in culture too, right? Right, like entertainment. Like you don't K-pop Demon Hunters is not #1 in Netflix and #1 at Billboard for like X
Right.
amount of weeks. I don't even know how many weeks at this point with just Asians. That's
All,
Yeah.
all of
the
them, all of
entire
the weeks.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
To go back to the original question, though, yeah, we are looking at doing some state expansion in 2026, some East Coast states. Don't want to say the specifics right now, but our bigger focus and expansion is expanding in our existing footprint and then specifically expanding into new retail channels. So that's our main focus.
And then on premise, do you guys target on premise at all, or?
It's not a huge focus of ours, but like we do, I have some like targeted on-premise, things that we're trying to do. It's just expensive, right? And
Yeah.
for us, it's more important if we are activating, to make sure we're doing something that's like genuinely cool. And I think
Yeah.
that stems from people on our team having experience in the music industry. We just didn't want to like go to any music fest, pay the sponsorship fee, and then just like spam people, right? We
Yeah.
want to come activate, do something really cool and different that like gets people talking. So that we're being more targeted and focused with that.
Cool. And then where do you guys contract brew?
San Jose.
Okay. Okay, cool. And then what craft brewer did you work for, John? Come on, you got to share.
Double nickel is what it's called. I thought
Okay.
my son said
All
that.
right.
Sorry about
Cool. Cool. And what do you have in your cup?
that. Water. Water.
Oh,
it's water. It's
boo.
we're in LA right now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
before noon.
I'm just trying to get that Wawa
before lunch.
flex
But
in there.
it is
Nice.
it is funny though that you mentioned that because there is a funny story about that. We obviously have like a crazy strenuous amount of testing whenever it comes to like innovation and developing new flavors and everything. Hard seltzer was super easy, 4.7% testing that, and it would be all day. We'd get to a spot at like 8 a.m. and you're going through iterations and
Wait, real
rounds.
quick. So he's talking about when we do our innovation testing, and
Yeah.
for whatever reason, like we always end up on a red eye to get there. We do a lot of the development on the East Coast. So we're always flying a red eye to basically go to a flavor house, and we're going straight from the airport there. It's like 8 a.m.
So we don't want to like eat that much before because then that messes with your palate. So we want to like taste it all.
Yeah.
And the 4.7, easy,
Yeah.
totally chill. The 8.8 was a hard experience. That was like testing all these different flavors, and obviously like 8 out of 10 of them are not like flavors that we want to move forward with. So it's just drinking pretty hard from like 8 a.m. onwards. So
and then after that, it's like you get done for the day, and then like normal people probably are like going to dinner or something else. We're like, now we got to go to the closest liquor store and buy every single competitive product we have our hands on and buy everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
To, like,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So it's
But that is why, we really want to put our stamp of approval on all
Yeah.
the flavors we want out there. Everything that we make is something that I would drink myself, and not just purely because of marketing reasons. Like it's just I genuinely like it more than what's out there. So
Do you guys tape those sessions and post them on social media or like?
I actually tried, but then I got in trouble because there's like some,
there's a lot of proprietary stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I wasn't.
We got like an email once being
Yeah.
like, hey,
notice you were filming. Delete
Don't
it.
do that.
I was like, yeah.
Nice. I was gonna say it couldn't be inebriation because I see plenty of that on TikTok.
Right,
so that's not the issue.
Yeah. Exactly.
Before we go, I wanted to ask about your logo because it's a little like cherub guy
Yeah.
reaching for a peach, right? So where'd that come from?
It's supposed to be any fruit. It's like more just like a fruit versus a specific peach. But the cherub was developed because when we were first developing the product, hard seltzer, we really cared about the macros. We wanted the flavors to be like this really heavenly experience, and because of the macros, it's like this divine drink of the gods. And so the cherub was this like playful way of like showcasing that. A big part of our brand design language is we want a premium product, a divine product, if you will, but then we don't want like our branding and marketing to be like so stuffy or like overly premium, right? So you can see in our packaging is like really like premium and well designed and everything. And it gives off that like feeling. But then if you look at our marketing and our tone voice and our logo, like the cherub, it gives that more playful, fun, like spreading joy feel. So it's like this juxtaposition that we were trying to put together. And like the gothic lettering of the Nectar logo as well kind of plays into that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's certainly eye-catching, definitely. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, our art director and creative director is incredible. He's one of our co-founders as well. His name's Brando, and he came from the music industry and designed for a lot of like really amazing acts. And so we're lucky to have him as a partner.
awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that's all I had, unless you had anything else, B, or we didn't touch on something that you guys just absolutely want to break the news right now for all our listeners to hear.
Um, no, I mean, I think that we're just really excited about like Nectar Radio. The way we launched that too was like a really fun
Did
experience.
you
I don't-
explain the Zippy's thing?
No, I didn't. I'm just
Oh,
gonna,
okay.
yeah. So the way we launched Nectar Radio, we wanted to do something like you'll see it on our logo. We're beyond tradition. We always want to go beyond just like the norm or the box that everyone seems to play within. And so our idea there was, have you guys been to Hawaii ever or
Mhm.
often? So like there's this chain of family-owned restaurants there, diner restaurants there called Zippy's. And it's I think like the perfect representation of who we try to be as a brand. And why I say that is they're like a 60-year-old brand that's a mix of just Asian flavors with all these different diner, like your standard diner fare. So they're famous for their chili, but then they also have Korean fried chicken and Simon noodle bowls, and then they have burgers, and it's just this amazing experience. But because they're a 60-year-old company, they're very conservative when it comes to marketing or what they need to do. Like they haven't really needed to do much because they've been around for so long. We managed to convince them to let us throw a dance party in one of the Zippies,
Oh, fun.
where we brought in a DJ. We had a Japanese American opener and a Hawaiian Filipino American headliner. Texted out our community out there. Literally did zero marketing other than texting our community that this was happening and sign up for like this Partiful link. And had like over 700 people RSVP
wow.
line up. Because again, like it was just like this crazy experience. Like, what do you mean? Everyone's first response was, what do you mean you're throwing a dance party at a Zippy's? Like I go there, I've been
Sweet.
going to Zippy's with my grandma since I was like 5 years old. Like I don't
That's cool.
understand what you mean by that. Two of the Zippies on Island have a liquor license also, so we like did it at one of those. And it was just this incredible experience that like I think was a really genuine connection to the culture. Really like organically put in Nectar Radio as like this new thing that we're doing. And we had Sojuice there as well. And people were having a lot of fun with that. We sold out actually like multiple times. Luckily we had like a distributor that was able to help us like get some more product in there. Like, yeah, it was just such an incredible experience. And it's something that we want to do more of. Like, how do we do more of these beyond tradition type of events that are just completely off the wall? And it's not just at a bar. It's not just at a venue. It's not just at a festival. It's like at a family-owned mom and pop location here. Like we have some ideas for Koreatown in Los Angeles. We have some ideas for like some different locations in Vegas and all these other areas that we can do. So we're really excited about what Nectar Radio opens up for us when it comes to marketing. And yeah, stay tuned.
Cool. I'll send you ideas for Texas.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
"Oh,
a
that's
Buc-ee's, like that'd be kind of cool.
Buc-ee's would be amazing. Oh my God. People love Buc-ee's. Yeah.
But,
Buc-ee's.
one story I forgot to mention about that Zippy thing. We actually had to hire a structural engineer to make sure that a dance party would be okay on the second floor of the Zippies.
Oh my gosh.
So it was okay. Everything was fine.
Wow.
I had to get new insurance. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, I love what you guys are doing. It's different, and that seems to be hard to come by in this industry these days. So,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, and keep us
thank
posted.
you so
Yeah.
much. This has been a fun conversation. Hope we didn't butcher it. Yeah.
Like I butchered y'all's name. Sorry. Next time. Now you have to come back on the show so I can do
Anytime.
it. Perfect. Awesome.
Anytime. Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Well,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
Thank you
guys.
so much. Bye.
Cheers.